Bam, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, none other than the best in urban conservative news, talk, and movies. I'm Ken McClinton. This is the Exceptional Conservative Show on TECNTV.com. TECNTV.com. I can't wait till somebody tells me, man, that's too long. I can't figure that out. TECNTV.com. Ladies and gentlemen, with me tonight, my very good friend Dave Milner, the conservative commentator extraordinaire. And for those listening on his network, part of SHR Media, happy Halloween to you. You're probably going to look good in that mask. You've been practicing all year. Dave Milner, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great tonight, Ken, and very, very excited and happy to be back. Yeah, just so everybody knows, all right, I have a lot of shows stacked up, and that's why this particular one, which is being broadcast live on the 10th of September, will be heard on the 31st of October at the Unpleasant Blind Guy page at Spreaker.com. And Ken's commentaries will be on the show also for November the 2nd, the day before the election, and also for the election day, November the 3rd. My shows come on at 1 p.m., so you'll get some last advice and encouragement from Ken on my programs. And I just want to say to everybody out there right now that's getting ready for Halloween, you don't have an idea for a costume. Let me give you that. I predicted this, I have to say, way back in March when this Wuhan stuff first started. Somebody is going to go to Halloween, go around trick-or-treating or to some Halloween party as the Wuhan virus. Just give you some tips here, okay? All you need is some aluminum foil, all right, and some pipe cleaners, but you'll have to paint them red or dye them red, and then just put them all in a little ball around yourself, and have the little pipe cleaners sticking out spiky like the Wuhan virus. You got a winning costume right there. I guarantee it'll be a conversation starter.
I agree with you. And you know what? If you wore the Wuhan virus headset and also the karate outfit, you would be down. Everybody would know that's a Wuhan superstar karate expert right there. Right there.
Well, and you could set the whole thing off if you had a little boombox. Also, with you playing DJ Fatboy Slim's version of Kung Fu Fighting. I mean, we really want to get a book just about. Let's just go just jump all in.
Exactly, all in right there. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we should be in preparation, Dave Milner and I, to do our Christmas Hallmark movie for guys. For real guys, not guy, just not the ordinary San Francisco guy. I mean, real guy, Hollywood draped Hallmark movie, and it's going to have some shooting in it. It's going to have lots of cars. It's going to be really, really great. We're working on that right now.
And Kung Fu, do not forget the Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, you got to have Kung Fu or karate or some other kind of martial arts.
Exactly.
You got to have that.
And women who are scantily clad. That's a requirement as well. And they will all be coming from the big city back to a small town where they will be responsible for saving it. Right there. Right there. That's the Hallmark repertoire for those who are stuck at home watching it with other people. Just want to tell you that.
Better than anything Netflix is putting out right now.
Much better. Much better. I want to talk with you tonight about Donald Trump because the rest of the world doesn't know that he's been nominated for the Nobel Prize. And I'm simply amazed that CNN has only postured that someone who was tipsy or anti-Semite or anti-immigrant could have possibly nominated Donald Trump for this particular prize. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, this is something, honestly, that I've been used to, having worked with EDL radio for so many years. The headline that appeared in the story that you gave me, and also what I've been hearing from other sources. That this individual that nominated President Trump for a Nobel Prize is from the far right. Now, guys, let me, with my years of experience at this, translate this for you, because these headlines have been popping up in the UK and in Europe now for years. I mean, my God, this is like 7 years. They're just now starting here. If you or any organization you belong to is anything right of Joseph Stalin, then you're considered far right. Okay? That's what it's going to be. It's a kind of scare language that the press over here has just began to pick up on. And guys, don't be fooled by it. Okay? It just basically means that you're not a Marxist. And that's all it is. And frankly, President Trump deserves that nomination. Okay?
Exactly.
For what he's been able to pull off. I mean, the UAE and Israel exchanging embassies and things of that nature. I didn't see Obama doing any of that stuff, and he got a Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing.
Well, actually, he got a Nobel Peace Prize for being black. There you go. First black president, he got a Nobel Prize. There you go.
Where's Bill Clinton's prize?
Oh!
Black president.
I'm sorry. Again, William Jefferson, Bill Clinton was shafted. Shafted, I say. Damn right.
I'm not going to do the other bit. Okay. I won't do the other bit because this is a Christian show, so I won't.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Lord forgive me. There you go. But I also played earlier on my program the quote-unquote CNN exclusive that Joe Biden says that Trump has no conception of national security. And that was based on the fact of Bob Woodward in his book Rage, quoting the president as saying that, quote, end quote, he has a nuclear weapon system that no one's ever had before. That's the quote, end quote. And so Bob Woodward and the left are running around raging, stating that that was a break of national security, that was a release of classified information. So classified that Yahoo News has come up with the idea that it is the W-79 nuclear head weapon. And in addition to that, I thought was fascinating that Bob Woodward, according to Jake Tapper, contacted individuals in the intelligence community to verify what weapon it was and that he received the information. So I want to ask you, Dave, in this regard, is Bob Woodward a criminal leaker, in your opinion?
Well, that's a very fascinating question, because normally when someone in the intelligence community or the military is asked about weapons systems that are active, their normal response is, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
Okay. So one has to be led to one of two conclusions. Either someone that Woodward talked to leaked, and in that case, yes, you are talking about someone making a serious breach of national security, or Woodward is just plain lying about something that President Trump would say. I mean, President Trump would say something like that. I mean, let's face it. Okay, before the Wuhan virus, we, in Trump lexicon or in Trump speak, the economy has been the most incredible that it's ever been before. Race relations are improving like they never have before. The military is being resupplied like it never has been before. It's the greatest country in the world. There are incredible things happening. There are things that you don't even know about happening. This is just the way President Trump talks. All right, and as for Biden, honestly, guys, I've got to say, he is going to say these things before the election. But Ken, I have to say that he's not the one we should be paying attention to, because he's only going to be the figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be there less than a year. All right. Kamala Harris is the one that we have to pay attention to. She's the one that had a talk with the individual who basically sparked the commotion in Kenosha. All
Mm-hmm.
right, an hour-long conversation with him, and said she was proud of him. And
Wow.
I'm confused. I'm confused. Now, which thing was she proud of? I mean, was she proud of the fact that he stole his girlfriend's car? Was she proud of the fact that he rifled through his girlfriend's bank account? Was she proud of the fact that he stole his girlfriend's ATM card? Or was she proud of the fact that he sexually assaulted his girlfriend before doing all that? I really would like to know from Ms. Harris exactly what of those things is she proud of. And I also would like to know this individual who is very likely, if Biden wins, this individual who will almost certainly be president in a year, has she had any hour-long conversations with the victim?
Very good question. And let me just correct myself before I respond to that. I said W79. It's not the W79 warhead. It's nuclear warhead. It's the W76-2 low-yield nuclear warhead. And that's been reported by Kyle Mizokami from Popular Mechanics. So it's amazing that someone from Popular Mechanics has the insight on intelligence, military intelligence for the U.S. But I agree with you in terms of Kamala Harris, who is noteworthy for two things in America. One, her shoes. Apparently, her sneakers are the biggest thing since Nike, and she wears them well. And the other thing is being called the mattress by her former boyfriend. So, quite frankly, beyond that, there's nothing really that you can point to with Kamala Harris, a woman who was told by her father, "Don't call me anymore since you are lying about Jamaicans and marijuana." In addition to that, you remember a congresswoman from Hawaii who tore her up in the first couple of debates regarding her inability to prosecute well, and in addition to that, prosecute 1,500 individuals for marijuana charges. In addition to that, kept 2 individuals in prison, one of which she had evidence indicating that he should have been removed from the prison. Kamala Harris is not someone of a character that I consider such value that I don the words that she says as vibrant and noteworthy. She has taken the art of political whoring to a very high level in the United States of America. And congratulations on being able to shapeshift from being an Indian American to being a Black American.
Yeah, it really is amazing. But I think that all of the facts that you have talked about are there for everyone to see, and they need to understand these facts. What they present is a picture of someone who is prepared to pull power to themselves by any means necessary. She will imprison people. She will keep people in prison. She was a horrible district attorney, just terrible, and attorney general. Excuse me, just a terrible attorney general. It is, and I've been watching her as far as this goes, and she just presents a picture of someone who wants power, and who knows, as people are trying to decide who to vote for, you may want to consider the fact that we don't really know whether or not a woman who began her political career on her back might not be prepared to do the same thing to the entire nation, because she's angry at it, thinking that she couldn't reach her current position any other way, which is kind of a shame, because that would be a lot of self-hate on her part and an insult to women.
Indeed. I want to get your insights on London, England, especially the Prime Minister there. Boris Johnson. And it's all because of your great work on your wonderful program that comes on Thursdays at 3:30 and also on Sundays at 3:30. And can you tell everyone about that program first before I ask you about Boris Johnson?
All right. Well, that's the English Defense League radio show, and the show times are, as you've said, that is podcast at 8:30 p.m. in the UK, and that's why it's 3:30 p.m. here in the United States, Thursdays and Sundays, and basically it's an examination of the UK and the rest of the world, with an eye towards informing people about Islam and the left, and how much the one worlders are looking to plunge our entire societies into darkness. Yes.
Exactly. I want to ask you about Boris Johnson because I thought he was on the same page I was. Maybe I'm a few pages behind in the hymnal regarding liberty and freedom. I thought he was so pro Brexit that he wanted to break off the relationship with the European Union and build the relationship with the U.S. If you would uh, allow me just this moment of confusion. Apparently, there is talk of him tearing up the Good Friday Accord, basically, and stating that he would like to work out a relationship with the European Union. What's going on here?
Well, certainly he's getting pressure to do this. He's gotten pressure that way ever since the UK determined that they were going to break away from the European Union. I think it will still happen, but I think it's a massive mistake for him to tear up the Good Friday Agreement. That if you want to see more terrorism in the UK than there is now, and there's plenty of it now, then all you have to do is do that, because you'll see a resurgence of the IRA, and it will not be a pretty thing. I think, though, that he really does want to get Brexit done, but I think he wants to get it done under more favorable terms for the UK. And reading some things earlier today, what he has basically said, and what his cabinet has said to the European Union is, okay, we're altering the agreement. Pray we do not alter it further. Now, he wasn't breathing like Darth Vader at the time that he said it, but this is the one thing that he can do to keep his political career alive, because there are other things going on in the UK and indeed in other Commonwealth states of the UK, that he desperately needs this one thing to keep going on, and that is protests about these lockdowns that have been going on, these Wuhan virus lockdowns. People in the UK are sick to death of it, and it is something that is coming to a boil. It's definitely come to a boil in Australia, and it's doing that all over the world. And there are a lot of people that are becoming very critical of Boris Johnson at this point. So he needs for Brexit to succeed, and I think that that the UK will leave the European Union by the time that it is supposed to, which is January the 1st of 2020.
Exactly. I want to just broach something with you, especially with the quarantine situation, not just in Britain, for those who are listening to you in Britain, but also here in the States. This is something that has perplexed the minds of some of the most wise medical, technological, and social individuals of scholarship. The whole idea of quarantining healthy people. And apparently, Dr. Robert Siegel has said that there were several factors behind the rise in COVID-19 cases, including testing, contact tracing, and people interacting more as shelter-in-place orders get relaxed. Uh, he says that the virus would be very happy if we all went back and started socializing. So the whole idea is somehow what the left put in place is the thing that worked, that stopped us from having 2.5 million people die from COVID 19. Yet there are other professors out there that are basically stating this was the most foolhardy method ever in terms of dealing with a pandemic, where you actually shut down a country, you shut down the healthy, you quarantine the healthy, and you impoverish them, and that's supposed to heal people? It doesn't make sense. And so common sense is beginning to yield forward, and people are beginning to say, you know what? This just doesn't feel right. And freedom and liberty says that I need to be out and not stuck in order to live. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, if you've been looking at the Stanford University studies that have been coming out from the start, they've been saying, "What are you guys doing? This is insane." And all you have to do is look at that 6,000 to 7,000 years of established science. We know how this works. Even in biblical times, okay, they would separate. Okay, let's take the lepers. All right, they would send them to leper colonies.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that they would not just let the lepers run around and have the healthy people stay at home. That wouldn't work. All right, and it didn't work then, and it won't work now. It hasn't worked now. Right? The left have not saved any lives doing what they've done. As a matter of fact, if you look at the numbers from Sweden versus our numbers, our new numbers, really, there's been no difference. And what Sweden did was to just allow for herd immunity to take hold, and they have been celebrating very few or no new cases of Wuhan over there. All right. Meanwhile, we are going to keep on having these cases as long as we keep on with this shutdown mentality. The same is true for Australia. The same is true for the UK. For every country that does this. I mean, look at Hawaii. All right, they've got all sorts of cases, and they shut down the entire state.
Yep.
Okay, and they've had big time mask mandates and everything, all the stuff that the lefties love, and they're still having trouble with the Wuhan. All right, and you contrast that with states like South Dakota, all right, that have had a very low number, and they've had people walking around much like they've been walking around in my neighborhood here, the old north end of Burlington, Vermont, because people have been noticing, hey, my friends and people I know in my neighborhood are not falling down dead. Okay, the death wagon is not rolling down the street and picking up bodies. I think the big thing that scared a lot of people was all of the deaths that took place in Italy right at first. That's what made people think that this was Captain Trips or the Andromeda strain or Ebola or something horrible like that. As it turns out, Ken, you and I and everyone who said that this was just a bad flu and said this back in March were correct. Mm-hmm. And one of you were talking about Woodward, okay? Now, normally I would just ignore this because there's too much good news coming out right now about jobs and things of that nature. But one of the things that he taped, all right, that President Trump said was yes, we knew that it was coming through the air, and Ken, you pointed that out early, and so did I. Logic indicated that it was coming through the air. We're not talking about contact or anything like that. This has been in the atmosphere since early this year. So yes, people are beginning to realize that while it's a bad flu and while people die during a bad flu, it's probably equivalent to the Hong Kong flu of 50 years ago, which I lived through. You're probably a little bit too young.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Ebola, and they're getting sick and tired of being fed this tissue of lies. Not from so much from President Trump, who wants to open up the country and has wanted to for months, but from Democrat governors, Democrat mayors, all right, and Democrat officials who are running around acting like South Park's Cartman with authority. All right, it just is not working.
We got some authority, ladies and gentlemen, some authority. I want to go here real quick because you know the social constructs of racism have no virtual genetic basis. And I'm going to have to write an essay to that effect. But the whole idea of racism is a social construct. And individuals use what makes us different as a tool to keep people oppressed. And so there is now, and has been since about the 1960s, the promulgation of the term white privilege, which is a basic social phenomenon, a recent one, in which white privilege is generally agreed to refer to the implicit or systematic advantageousness of being born with white skin or lighter melanin. And so there are individuals who are rolling around, and please, if you feel guilty about being white, you really need treatment. And if you feel guilty about being black, you really need to be treated as well. That basically white people owe black people income. White people owe black people houses. White people owe black people life. White people owe recompense for injustices done in previous centuries. And so I want to get your thought, because a jacked up question that was asked by Bob Woodward had everything to do about white, love you, Mary, about white privilege. And it had this statement that has been promoted, is that Donald Trump didn't have responsibility to understand pain of black Americans. No, I don't feel that at all. I want to get your thoughts regarding what he's done for black America. We only have a few minutes. What he's done for black America, and at once why white Americans should not feel guilty about quote unquote white privilege, a social scholarly phenomenon.
Well, I never. Okay, it's been a long time since I've seen a headline with as big a pretzel, written as big a pretzel as the one that you shared with me. I actually heard what President Trump said to this question. The question was about white privilege, and Woodward asked him, well, I feel that as I'm white privileged, and I feel like I'm in a cave, and I have to work my way out of this cave. And do you feel, sir, that that you're privileged as a white person, and that you're in a cave, and you have to work your way out of this cave? And President Trump said, more or less, you really did swallow the Kool-Aid, didn't you? No, I don't feel that way at all. Now, when he said that, Ken, I have to confess, as often as I have criticized him, I actually wanted to bake him a dozen chocolate chip cookies and send them down to D.C. because this is just abjectly ridiculous. This whole notion of white privilege. My God, I mean, how? Okay, what do I, as a white person, owe black people?
Not.
You know what I owe? No, respect. I owe black people respect. I owe white people respect. I owe everybody respect, and the Christian love in Jesus Christ that we all owe each other. Okay, if my brother needs a helping hand, excuse me, if my brother needs a helping hand, I will give it if I'm able, and that's what I think any of us owe to each other. It is really it's really sad to see people who should be trading on their skills and on their quick minds and on their abilities trash all of that for this facade of social justice warrior nonsense.
Exactly.
I think it's just ridiculous.
I'm just going to say this right here. This is what white privilege does. Barack Hussein Obama, who only spent about 28 days in office before he was nominated for the Nobel Prize and obtained it, was given that prize because of the color of his skin. Nothing else. He had not done anything else. And since that period of time, he was the person who bombed more countries around the world than any other president or dictator during his stead in office, and even assassinated American citizens. Donald Trump didn't obtain the recommendation for the Nobel Prize because of the color of his skin. He got it because he worked out deals with China, that he worked out deals with the Middle East, that he worked out deals to bring peace to the world. And he did it over 3 years. Don't tell me that Barack Hussein Obama feels the same way about the Nobel Prize as Donald Trump does, in the least bit. And in fact, it's cheapened the whole idea of the Nobel Prize, that someone looked at the color of someone's skin and said, you know what? That alone makes you worthy. In fact, Dr. Martin Luther King said, it's not by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character that people should judge you. Dave Milner, we love you, man. Thank God for you. Happy Halloween to all of those who are around the world celebrating it on your moment of record.
That's right. Say, get out there, guys. Satan is a punk ass bitch, and I tell you otherwise. Make fun of him on this Halloween, kid. I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Thank God for you. I hope you and yours stay blessed, and everybody in the chat room stay blessed. And that's it.
Yeah. Oh no. One more thing. Vote twice.
Okay.
Vote twice. It's the Democrat way. It's the Democrat way. Vote mail in and then vote in person. How they gonna know? There you go. Love you, man. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you that it's time for us to go. Wonderful conversation with Dave Milner. Love him dearly. I need to tell you all this, ladies and gentlemen, without a shadow of a doubt, that this election season is so vital. I want you to do all that you can to make certain that the elderly in your neighborhood are able to vote. Make certain that they have their own absentee ballot. Make certain that they're able, if they can, get to the polls to vote. And as well, for our military personnel and families around the world, make certain that you fill out the FVAP form. Fill out the Federal Voting Assistance Program form. Get that form in the mail. I know there's another name for it, but I don't have it in my mind just yet. And when I do, I'll tell you. But even get in contact with the Federal Voting Assistance Program at the Pentagon. Make certain as military personnel that you vote and vote early. For those of you who are following along at home, always remember, God bless America. It's now time for America to bless God. Good night, and God bless each and every one of you.